How confident are Hawks fans in Kyle Davidson and the Hawks rebuild? The answers might or might not surprise you. Join us next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Tuesday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawoski. That's Mario Terabasi. Joey's here running the show in the steamy CHGO studios. I'm going to have to we might have to go tarps off for this one.
All right.
No one wants that.
Sure.
At least on my end. I don't know. I have not seen you shirtless yet, but
Not yet.
it's probably better than me.
Play your
I would
cards right.
assume. All right. How much money in super chats do we need to get to do this show shirtless?
It would have to be our biggest super chat show ever.
Or do we go shirtless and then say until we get
The
X
reverse.
amount of money,
Yeah, it's true.
we're
Yeah.
not putting our shirts back on?
Is it a shirtless-a-thon? Not like a telethon?
See, yeah,
A
like
shirtless-a-thon.
shirtless-a-thon.
Really
Yeah.
quick, I was
maybe
watching,
maybe we take them off right now, and until we get like $500 in super chats, they're not going back on.
I
Super
thought we
quick.
want people to watch the show on YouTube.
That's fair.
was
Yeah, they
watching
could
the,
just turn it off. Good thinking. All
I was
right,
watching
fine.
the Sandberg thing last night, the Sandberg game, the ninth
Yeah.
inning, and
Yeah.
just the clips of it. I swear to God, 47% of the people in Wrigley were shirtless. There
Oh,
were
sure.
so many shirtless people in that
Oh, yeah.
clip on YouTube.
I know another thing. This is completely off topic, but it's July 29th. Who cares? Other thing I noticed in watching all the old Rhino highlights, no one's wearing a jersey.
Jersey culture didn't become like a really
Yeah.
big thing till like I would think like the 90s when I was a kid.
We were watching Marquis did an awesome highlight, almost like I think we all knew Rhino was getting towards the end. It just had that vibe over the last couple weeks. So Marquis clearly had something ready, and it was really nice. But you'd see highlights of these old ballparks. Like, where are they? There was no indication based on the fans of where they were playing.
Right,
Everyone's
yeah.
like in polo shirts and jeans, and if they're wearing a shirt at all.
Yeah, I mean, like you look back at the old pictures of going to games at Chicago Stadium and stuff. They're all in it's the dress of the era. And
Yeah.
they're in suits going to the hockey game because it was an event. And then as I think the culture of everything changed, then it became more casual to go to sporting events. And then I think over time people started selling jerseys and having jerseys, and people would make their own. Back then, people would make their own jerseys and write in Sharpie like which player they were and stuff. And then people got smart to sell them, and they became more affordable. And then boom. Now if you're at a Blackhawks game or you're at a sporting event and you're not wearing a jersey or a team shirt, you kind of stick out.
Yeah,
You're like, what do you did you mean to go here?
Right. They showed when the game 3 of the Cubs Sox series, when the Cubs were about to win, everyone standing had blue on.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of a thing. Anyway, that's not why you're here. You're here to hear about the Blackhawks. We're going to finish off your mailbag questions, but we want to direct your attention to our buddies at The Athletic, Mark Lazarus and Scott Powers. They have published the results of their annual fan survey. We're not going to go through item by item. We want you to check things out, but we did see a little bit of interest, had a little bit of interest, rather, in kind of the confidence level in how the offseason is going and how the rebuild is going. And I don't know, you looked at these two. We'll share the results in a minute, but did anything really surprise you when going through the
No, it wasn't really surprising. It was actually more, if it was surprising to me, it was how not reflective of the loudness that has increased over, people online or in our chat or wherever, talking about outside perspective too, talking about like Hawks don't know what they're doing, Davidson doesn't know what they're doing, there's no direction, all that stuff, like things that some people, it made it sound like, or made it feel like, okay, well, that's just a very loud, small group of people or non-athletic subscribers. But it just seemed like overwhelmingly it was maybe more votes in the middle, like C, like we'll see how things go, kind of thing, like a C letter grade, than it has been before. So I mean, it's not trending in a great way as tough seasons go on, and this will be another tough season from a win-loss perspective. But I think it still showed that there is a fan base buy-in or trust of where things are still going, what the direction still is, which I think is encouraging, because that's where you want the majority of your fans to land. You want them to say, we're on board with this, we believe in you, and as long as the results pan out the way that they should, we're going to stick with you.
So the first question, it's not the first one in the story. The first one we're going to talk about is, with 1 being the least and 5 being the most, how confident are you in Kyle Davidson as a GM? 9.3% said 1, 13.3% said 2, 26.3% said 3, 37.9% said 4, and 13.4% said 5. So pretty high. Everyone's given a C or higher for the most part.
The majority is on the positive side.
But it is a drop from last year, where he the score of 4 last year was 55.2%, and a score of 5 was 24.6%. So again, 55.2 drops to 37.9.
80%.
Yeah.
Landing 4 or 5.
Yeah, roughly. And 24.6 drops to 13.4. Yeah. So pretty big drops. But I think, look, I talked about this yesterday with Greg. People are starting to get impatient. I think people understand the rebuild. They understand that it's a painful process, but I think people are ready now for the next step to begin. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe they don't know it yet, but next season, the next step is beginning.
Yeah, I think this season pans out to be, the showcasing of the kids and the showcase of this first wave of the rebuild coming to fruition. And it's going to come with some rough spots. It's going to come with a lot of, learning moments for a lot of these young guys. But I think seeing these players come together, kind of turn that page and pass the torch from, one generation to the next, with this kind of middle generation of like the Nick Folignos and the Jason Dickinsons and all that. Like, you kind of pass it on to who's going to be the face of the franchise moving forward. And, you fully see Connor Bedard and Alex Vlasic and Frank Nazar really kind of take over moving forward. That'll be, the biggest thing for this season. And if it comes along with like some more fast-paced, exciting play, maybe you win a couple games against teams you're not expected to, and you have moments where, those young guys like really look like they're driving the team, I think that's a success.
Next up is, with 1 being least, 5 being the most, how confident are you in where the Blackhawks rebuild is at? 8.6% said 1, 19.3% said 2, 30.7% said 3, 32.4% said 4, 8.9% said 5, and this is another drop-off. Last year, fans gave a 4. 53.3% of fans gave it a 4. That's 20.9% down this year. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of strange to me, because you're only adding. You just added Anton Frondell and Mason West and, and other draft picks this year. Your prospect system got better. And if you're frustrated with the lack of moves of free agency, that shouldn't necessarily skew your view on how the rebuild itself is going.
Unless you were of the thought that to accelerate the rebuild and expedite the process of helping these young guys, mainly Connor Bedard, was to sign a free agent of note, then you would say, well, they didn't do that, so in my eyes, that's not helping the rebuild. That's taking it a step back or stalling it or something. Which, sure, I can see that, but I think it's still something that, if you believe in all these young guys and you want them all to kind of grow together, as we've seen kind of that expectation and that precedent be set with like the off-ice skills or the off-ice prospect camp, using Rockford as a development ground for all those guys to kind of play together for a few seasons and come up together. Like, that's what the Blackhawks really want this to be, not, okay, we're going to go get the top free agent and they're going to be the main player and all the young guys are going to play off of them. Like that's not the direction that they would want to go.
Reven in the chat says, the prospect pool isn't really as deep as it seems. They have a lot of depth pieces in the system, but a total lack of top 6 talent, both on the roster and in the system. I sort of take issue with that. Bedard is top 6. Frondell's going to be top 6. I think we're all fairly confident that when Frank Nazar is fully realized, he's going to be a top 6 guy.
He's going to be one this year, I would imagine.
Yeah, like Teuvo Teravainen is a Sox top 6 player.
Well,
he's not a prospect, but he's in the organization.
But I think you, I mean, if you look at the prospect pool, right, and you add just from this draft class, like there's a lot of project guys, right? Frondell seems like by the end of this year or next year is playing professionally, probably in the NHL.
I think the latest he debuts is opening night next season.
Right. Mason West is a guy that still has to play college hockey before he's even thinking about making the next big step. Same with Nestor Sill. So I think you look at those 3 first-round picks, like at their maximum development, I think you have 3 guys that are in the top. You at least have 1. I think you have 2 other guys that could be in that top 6 range, in that top 6 discussion. Sasha Boisvert is another guy that, like, he's on a great trajectory right now so far, and if he continues the path that he's on, that's a guy that you could say he could be in the top 6.
Yeah.
Merrick Van Acker is another guy that could fit in that category. Nick Lardis is another guy that could fit in that category. And now it is a lot of if they max out,
if they max out, yeah.
But who's to say that they can't? Now, if they all fall short of it, then, yeah, you have a real problem. But I think in the forwards group, there is a lot of potential to have guys that are, top line, second line worthy. And if you have too many guys who are top 6 or second line worthy, then that means you have a really good third line. And it all kind of trickles down. So I think the depth that they have is still pretty solid. There are some guys that you need to see exactly what they can become, but you just don't know yet.
Lebowski5 with a $10 super chat says, if they did this in 2005, fans would have said that Pulford Talon didn't know what they were doing. Fans had no idea who Boland, Brouwer, Bufflin, Hjalmarsson were. Most didn't even know who Duncan Keith was. That's part of it too, but I think now there are people that became Hawks fans during the dynasty. They're paying closer attention to prospects and their development because you went from 3 Stanley Cups in 10 years basically to tear it down, build from scratch. And if you are a Hawks fan and you became a diehard Hawks fan during that era, your attention now is on these prospects, and it's almost more important than what's happening at the NHL level before this year. I think this year that changes, and it's almost comparable to, I say, like 2013, 2014 with the Cubs, when like Bryant was on the rise, Bias was on the rise. You just traded for Rizzo, and people are really focused on fall league games and Iowa Cubs games, and like that sort of thing. That's where we're at. That's where we were heading into this year. So I think people are paying a little more attention than back in 2005 because it was a dead-ass era for the Hawks then. But
the access of information is completely different.
Yes, that too, 100%. But we don't know what a lot of these guys are going to be. I mean, Nick Lardis scores 71 goals, and you tend to think, well, if he scores a third of those at the NHL level, that's pretty good.
That'd be nice.
You'll take 25 goals or whatever it might be, right? So there are a lot of unknowns, but I think that's pretty much the deal with a bunch of teams. And someone said too, the Sharks have a lot more high-end talent than the Hawks. I don't know if that's true. Maybe you look up front and say
they've also been in the rebuild process longer.
Yeah.
So they've had more drafts where they're picking higher.
But don't forget too that a lot of what made the Dynasty Hawks high-end was how solid their defensemen were. They were puck movers. They were great skaters. They were great defenders.
Yeah.
They could join the rush. They could create on the stretch passes on the tape all the time. That all leads to offense. And while you might look up and down the roster, even if you go through the dynasty teams, you had Brian Bickle on the top line. You had Chris Versteeg playing top 6 minutes all the time. Those are not your average top 6 players, but they're complementary players to Sharp and Taves and Kane and Hossa and those guys, like, they search forever for a second line center. And they had to kind of, you got Vermette one year, you got Brad Richards one year, Michael Handzus one year. No team is really, we have 6 textbook top 6 players. That's very rare. Yeah. That's very rare. All right, we got to hit the break zone. Do us a favor, hit the like button. And we come back, we got to congratulate a diehard CHGO fan on the birth of their new baby. Stick around. We'll be back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. What is Sunnyside? You should know by now that Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, where whether you're a noob, whether you're a veteran, whatever you're looking for, they've got it for you at Sunnyside. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. They are Illinois' favorite dispensary with good reason. They've got great locations in Wrigleyville, River North, and even the suburbs, Champaign, South Beloit, and more. If you're just starting out, Sunnyside, they will guide you through the entire journey to make sure you have everything you want. Check out my 2 favorite brands, the Good News and the Mindy's. We also know you'll love Cresco and Flora Kale's incredible quality and consistent products. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases with the promo code HICHGO. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus. Or Illinois MedCard holders. Existing users use promo code CHGO50 for 50% off one Cresco Labs brand item.
Looking to buy, sell, trade, or rip open packs of cards? Check out our friends at Arena Club. They're changing the hobby with their transparent slab packs and no-fee auctions. Arena Club makes it easy to collect the cards that you love. You can get authentic, graded cards instantly on Arena Club, and then you decide whether to hold on to them, sell them, or have it shipped to you directly. You can also decide to take an instant cash offer based on market value. One click, cash in, no guesswork. And with their slab packs, you can open a pack for as low as $25 and hit on a card that's worth tens of thousands of dollars. You take those odds any day because every pack has grails in them that are worth at least 20 times the price of the pack. If you're heading to the National Sports Collectors Convention, be sure to stop by the Arena Club booth. That's going on July 30th through August 3rd at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. And right now you can get 20% off of your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO and using the code CHGO.
And Taking the Temp is presented by your trusted local experts at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Based on this athletic fan poll, fans are still confident, believing in the Blackhawks, but it's starting to fade a little bit. It's the patience is wearing thin. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com, and we're not going to share any more of the poll results because it's their hard work, so we're not going to steal their content. So go check it out.
Take enough of
at
it.
The Athletic. Yeah, I think 2 of like the 10 things they've run is fair.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, check out the whole thing.
We're help promoting them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at us. We're great guys. That's what it is. Shout out, by the way, Lord Hosa on the birth of, it's the first child, right? Yeah. Lord Hosa says, thank you for the shows to catch up on. I just became a dad yesterday, hoping to take my new son to a game in Chicago later in the year. Might be late enough to see Frondell come over. There you go.
Nice. That's awesome.
We took my daughter's first Hawks game was the banner raising of the 2010 banner.
Nice.
She
was born.
She was born in May of 22.
Yeah,
she was born hours after Dustin Byfuglien won Game 3 of the Western Conference Final over the Sharks, and then we watched my wife, my daughter, and me. She didn't really watch; she was asleep. Watched Game 4. The Hawks win the West.
Sweet.
And then we took her to the banner raising, and she slept through the anthem. We have video of her asleep on Hope's shoulder as the anthem is blaring in the banners.
With like little headphones or something?
I don't think we were negligent parents and did not have headphones for her. But she was out cold.
Wow.
So
that's
yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, it was cool. That's a good memory.
Cece's first game was it last? No, it wasn't last December. 2 Decembers ago. We took her with some family, so that was a lot of fun. Took her to Palace Grill before the game, gave her the whole experience. It was a good time. Got to get her back again this year.
Is Palace Grill just not?
I don't know. It's from what I've heard. There's some logistical things that have delayed the renovation, the reopening, and all that stuff. So hopefully it gets figured out. It's been there's been a small hole in my heart to not have Palace Grill available, and I'm sure to tons of Blackhawks fans, not have that be available, before games or just it's classic diner food, a classic Chicago and Blackhawks experience. I hope it can get figured out and can get reopened.
What's great about it is you're always going to see, if the Hawks are in town, you're always going to see somebody there. Like I remember I've seen several times I saw Doc Emmerich there, like several different occasions. There's always Hawks luminaries eating at Palace Grill. So hopefully they open up soon because, I could use a big honking omelet and some hash browns and just like get the defibrillators out and man.
I mean, don't they have a sandwich that's called the heart attack?
There's something like that. Yes. Hopefully George and the Palace Grill come back soon because it is missed in this area. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, shall we venture into the mailbag, Joey?
Sure, let's do it.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. And reminder, if you want to get priority on Mailbag Monday/Tuesday, you become a diehard at allchgo.com, and we are running out of time on our Hogan John's celebration sale.
Do it.
$36 gets you an exclusive Hogan John's shirt. They've also got a hat option in there, and of course, a year membership at allchgo.com. That hat is pretty sweet.
It's a good hat.
I got to say.
That is on the way to my location from the ALLCITY network shop.
It has become the era where hats are more expensive than shirts. Never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah, well.
Those are cool, though. We have behind us, you can see over, I'm so bad at this, right there, that Chicago flag hat right there. That is the same brand that makes the Hogan John shirt. It is a high-quality
It's a nice hat.
logo. Yeah. Like, it's not some crappy thing. It's nice. So check it out. Go get yourself some, allchgo.com/join. We'd love to have you as a diehard here. All right, to the mailbag we go. Damaged Lightning says, since Bedard is the key piece to this rebuild, can you guys share how many points for this upcoming season would leave you 1, disappointed, 2, feeling good, 3, thrilled? Okay.
60 or less, 70, and 80 plus.
Yeah, I would say 65 or less, somewhere between 70 and 80, and then point per game plus.
Yeah. And I think that's reasonable. I mean, he's had 2 full seasons in the NHL as a teenager. He's led the team in scoring both years. He's hit 20 goals both years. He's hit 60-plus points both years. And from all indications, his off-season training has been different than what he's done in the past 2 summers, getting ready for NHL seasons. And from his perspective, I know Ben Pope ran a story this weekend talking about Bedard and his off-season and how he's been training and everything. It sounds like he's feeling stronger. He's feeling faster. And you hear that all the time from these players in their summer training, but specifically for Bedard, it was so evident that he just needs time to physically mature and get stronger and get faster to kind of turn that corner at the NHL level. And I think he's, if he's been putting in the work. He didn't play at the World Championships because he wanted to focus on his training. We'll see if it truly does pay off, but I think the signs are good that this is going to be a improved version of Connor Bedard at 20 years old than he was the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot where Connor Bedard is learning for the first time in his life how to deal with adversity on the ice. He is
Not
always
being the best player.
Yes, he has always been the best player.
Yeah.
So his off-season training was, I'm going to go and shoot pucks and hit posts and do all the things I've always done. And he's learned here quickly that, I need to work on specific things and not just kind of go out there and, doodle around. I got to go, I can work on my shot all day, but my shot's already pretty damn good. If he adds a step or two, it's going to make a massive difference in his output, the quality of his shifts. And I think, too, when we talked to Jeff Flashill, he talked about this as well, having good short shifts, that gives you energy later in the game. It gives you energy later in shifts if you're not wearing yourself out. We saw so many times over the last 2 seasons where Bedard and others would get stuck out on the ice for a minute 20, a minute 40 of a shift because I'm trying to make something happen. Yeah. But 58 seconds, you say, I want to make something happen right now, then it becomes a minute 30 very quickly, and you're completely out of gas, and then you almost need the whole game to kind of catch up to that situation.
You're hurting yourself at that point.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that like young players who have been studs everywhere and have probably had the longer leash to say, from junior coaches or college coaches, like, hey, if you think you got a chance to make something happen, take the extra 10 seconds to try and make it happen. In the NHL, it's just, we need you as fresh as possible throughout the entirety of the game. Especially if you're tied or you're chasing a game in the third period. If you're gassed from taking long shifts in the first and second period, you're not going to be the guy out there that's going to make that difference. So that's something that comes with maturity and just being able to kind of like understand, like, you're not going to make, you get 20 shifts a game or whatever it is, and some shifts you're just not going to make anything happen. But sometimes it's better to have nothing happen on your shift than something bad happen.
Something bad.
So,
yeah. What does he call it? The hope and poke?
Hope and
so Blashill
poke and
calls
hope.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a time and a place to take those chances, but it shouldn't be the default. To say every shift I'm going to try to make something incredible happen.
You learn to be more
calculated. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
All right, next up on the mailbag. This from History Racer. If Oliver Moore makes the team out of preseason, which line mates would you like to see him with?
I think a good line that would be fun to see Oliver Moore with would be like Jason Dickinson and maybe Mikheyev or Slaggert. I think that would be. I
like the Mikheyev idea. You got some speed
trio
on both wings that way.
And Mikheyev and Dickinson are a little bit more defensively responsible as well.
It's a really solid checking line with some scoring upside.
I think that would be a fun speed and a good matchup line. But we'll see how it goes.
I think one thing that maybe some don't realize about Oliver Moore, because I hear a lot of people like, oh, he's Athanasiou, oh, he's Victor Stalberg because he's really fast, he has no finish. He is a really competitive defender. He is a two-way player, and he might not score huge numbers at the NHL level, but he's going to provide solid play in every zone of the ice. So he's not. I think it's fair to call Athanasiou and Stalberg somewhat one-dimensional. I don't think that's the case with Oliver Moore. So if he becomes, a secondary scoring option on a really solid checking line, because you can count. It looks like you can count on Mikheyev for, 15 to 20 goals.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be really nice.
So, Dickinson has scored 20 before. I don't think that's realistic. Maybe he's another, 11 to 16 kind of a goal scorer.
If he's in the teens, I think you're happy. Yeah.
But that's a line that can also defend, but has got some speed to make things happen while defending. So I like that idea. That sounds like a good place to start if Moore makes the team. And I also wonder too. That was a double. Also wonder too. Shouldn't have said that. If they've abandoned the idea of him being a center. I know he played a lot of wing in Minnesota.
I mean, we've just never seen him with an extended look yet. I think a lot of times when you get those guys out of college at the end of the year or out of junior at the end of the year, and they play a handful of games, you're not necessarily throwing a lot of those guys into the fire, so to say. And if you would put Oliver Moore right at center right away in that third line or whatever, then you're kind of throwing him right into it. So we'll see where he ends up lining up once training camp starts and where he goes. I don't think there's anything to say he can't be a center because you just don't know exactly yet. I think it is more likely though that if he's in the NHL, it's probably more of on the wing. And if he can play down the middle and can hang, then great. Then you have a guy that has played center before and then can do it at the NHL level. That's even better. I think you're more or less banking though. He's probably more.
Seems like a winger. Yeah. All right. We only have one more break this show, so stick with us. If you've not done it already, please hit that like button. We'll be back in 2 minutes, and then no more breaks for the rest of the show here on CHGO Blackhawks. Just like your favorite team needs a home ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and you can get one with Empire today. They've got flooring experts. They are dedicated to flooring. It's creepy But it's okay, because that's what you want. You want people that live and breathe flooring when you're getting new floors, and then when they're done, they leave. You don't have to deal with them anymore, because if they're going to do an awesome job the first time, that's why Empire Today is your best bet for a new floor. They'll bring the showroom right to your home so you can see the colors in your space. Make sure you're making the right choice. Nobody wants a surprise. Schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners, that's you. You can receive a $350 discount when you use our promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard me right. A $350 discount with the code CHGO. Restrictions do apply, so visit EmpireToday.com/CHGO for full details. Again, EmpireToday.com/CHGO.
And new vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the Employee Pricing Plus sales event. Right now, you can lease the new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab for only $399 a month for 27 months. Plus, you can shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. The expert team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. They prioritize affordability so you know you won't overpay for the vehicle you need. And with Ray's price promise, you can shop confidently with no add-ons or hidden fees ever. The price you see is the price you pay. Check out our partner today to shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories, and don't miss out on the Employee Pricing Plus sales event for huge savings on the Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. For more information, visit Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram today on Route 12 in Fox Lake, or you can go online at raycdjr.com.
All right, we are back. We got a $5 super chat from Ben, who says, I'll keep it short and simple. Let's go, Hawks. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Appreciate that very
I
much.
agree. Let's go, Hawks.
Let's go. Let's just start the damn season. That's the other thing that Bedard kind of said to Ben.
I just want the season.
Can we just play? Can we start playing, please?
Yeah, I know, for real.
God, the off season is so long when you don't
needs
make the playoffs.
August? We don't need August. Just skip it.
Would been very happy to delete July entirely.
Yeah, this July specifically.
It's been the worst month of my life. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But hey, it's almost over. All right, back to the mailbag. We shall go. This one from Bedard says that the Hawks. I know it's season. I'm just making fun of the youths.
It's season.
If the Hawks land Gavin McKenna, what do you guys think next offseason moves look like? And what stage does that put the rebuild in? That means the rebuild is effing over. And
I swear, I hope so.
I don't know
if that happens. Yeah,
at that point, maybe you try to add one top six winger and just call it a day and just give it time. If you have Bedard and McKenna and Frondell,
if you have Bedard, McKenna, Frondell, and Nazar, 4 of your top 6. You know, and that
me and you can go out there for some shifts then.
Sure, why not? Yeah, I think if you land Gavin McKenna, then I think you make some moves in free agency, or you make some trades, and you just say that's it. This is our group. Like how many
My team
more
is on the floor.
How many more prospects do you need? Like, this is our group. We're gonna push these guys forward, and of course they're still going to make sure that they're not barren of a prospect pool, and where they were when Kyle Davidson took over, but I think at that point you say this is the group that you're moving forward with, that you're banking on. All these defensemen here, you have a plethora of them. At least 4 of these 7 guys that we keep talking about should be solid NHL players. Then you're kind of just, around the edges of the roster, you're kind of figuring out where the pieces go. And sure, maybe you get that big free agent to say, I'm going to play with all these kids for the next 10 years because they're going to be really good.
That looks fun. Yes, let me do that.
Yeah, I think if you land Gavin McKenna, if you rip him away from the Pittsburgh Penguins,
maybe they'll fold by then. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, right. No, if Mario Lemieux buys the Penguins back, you know what he's buying? Gavin McKenna.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it is almost too obvious to happen, but it's going to happen.
Yep.
And they're going to do they'll try to make it as transparent as possible. And yeah. By the way, I see people talking about Kirill Kaprizov. Don't start getting your hopes up, because you're just going to be upset. There's no chance he's leaving Minnesota.
I don't think so. I think Minnesota, now that they have the money, is going to say, we're going to make you the highest paid player until Connor McDavid signs his contract. And then he will be the highest paid player. But enjoy those 15 minutes.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing if it happened, but don't start as we learned the hard way, don't start thinking about Rantanen and Marner, but even more than that is Kaprizov. If the Wild move or walk away from Kaprizov, they should fold as a franchise. Like, what are you even doing? That you have to have that guy be a Wild for life, or at least until he's 36.
He drives that team.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. All right. Featherhead 88. Why is Aiden Thompson lower on the Hawks prospect list and not really discussed as having much of an impact on the future Hawks roster? His last season with Denver was great, and I personally thought he'd be a great middle six player, possibly being a second-line winger. Am I overestimating him? You might be overestimating him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really good college career, but he was one of those more late bloomer guys. So, yeah, he had a great final year in college. He was doing it at 22, 23 years old. Those guys typically tend to do better in the NCAA as those older age guys. But I don't think it's out of the question that Aiden Thompson is not in the conversation of someone that's going to fight for NHL minutes.
Sure.
And definitely, yeah, he's one of those guys that has a good all-around game, has some good playmaking, has some good skills and speed. Like, he's a guy that can go out there and I think if he pushes for NHL minutes, or even, hey, if he makes the team out of camp, like, more power to him. I think he's in that conversation. And being a little bit older, maybe that does kind of put him ahead of some of those guys that are stepping in at 20 years, like an Oliver Moore. Like, maybe it does kind of give him that advantage of, like, being able to physically withstand a little bit more, or be a little bit ahead of the game when it comes with, reading the game, or physically being able to hold up, or just things like that. I think he's not maybe the most exciting guy, but it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility that he's in those conversations.
Yeah.
Once training camp comes around.
Part of it is he gets, he's 90th overall. He is a late second round pick. Third round pick. Sorry. Yeah. Didn't put up huge numbers. Good numbers, solid numbers, but nothing that really jumped off the page. And I also don't know if there's something about his game that also, like, really jumps off the page at you. He doesn't have overwhelming speed.
He's good at a lot of things.
Yeah, he's a solid player.
There's not really much to his game that's, like, elite, but you also need, you could say the same thing about Landon Slager.
You need a ton of guys like that.
Like, you need guys that can be those, reliable, like, we know if we play him 12 minutes in the NHL, he's not going to kill us kind of thing.
Well, and as we're projecting 2-3 years out here, it's becoming harder to find a spot for Landon Slager unless he really takes a step here. I love the kid, works his ass off, plays hard, great guy, but when you start looking at the depth of the prospect system, especially in the bottom six,
I think the Hawks believe in him, and I think they gave him that 2-year extension pretty well before they needed to. So I think they have a belief in him, and he's one of those players that I feel like once, even this season, the chance that Dickinson is gone, or the chance that Mikheyev is moved, or something like that, then I think he probably gets more of an opportunity as one of those guys that's going to take advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, right now you don't really see much more than like a bottom six spot, but are you banking on him to be much more than that? I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so. And you're looking at, like, you mentioned a deadline. There's so many spots that could theoretically open up. Foligno, don't know if you trade your captain at the deadline. Maybe you let him
I think they've
finish the season and he retires a Hawk.
They've done so much right by him. I think trading him,
it doesn't make sense.
When it could be like, unless he asks for it, of being like,
I don't think
you know what, I'm open to being moved. I want to go to a contender. This is my last season, whatever, could be, or whatever's on his mind. If they come to that agreement, then okay. But just to be like, well, he's on an expiring deal and we want to open up a spot, we're going to move him, I don't think they would do that. But
it's him, it's Dickinson, it's Mikheyev, is UFAs, Sam Lafferty's a UFA. Reichel's an RFA if he's even here on opening day. Colton Dock, who knows what he's going to do. So there's going to be opportunities for young players if they don't make the team right out of camp to jump in and take spots. And I think that's why we're looking at Frondell, where Djurgårdens, a team that was relegated, gets promoted this year. Typically those teams don't make the postseason, so his season should be ending right about the trade deadline. and that would be a time where he could jump over to the NHL right away if his season in Sweden goes the way people expect that it might. So I don't know. Like I think this, just like the end of like the last 9 games of last year, felt pretty good.
Yeah,
you could see like deadline on things feeling pretty good for the Hawks there too. It could possibly be before then too. So I think that this is going to be, even if the standings points aren't necessarily significantly better, it's going to be just a more enjoyable experience to watch, I think.
Yeah, I think because most of the games are going to be rosters full of a lot of these guys that we've had like some excitement to see finally what they can do at the NHL level, and it's going to be a lot of that. And then the guys that are the NHL vets, you like Ryan Donato.
Yeah.
Ilya Mikheyev was exciting to watch at the end of last season. You like watching Tavo. Like there's still guys out there that you're like, yeah, I don't hate them as Blackhawks.
No, and even a guy like Tavo, with a year left on his deal, if all of a sudden these young players emerge and they're ready to go, a guy like Tavo can get a big return at the deadline. I wouldn't count on it,
Sure.
But if you've got 3-4 prospects that can't be kept in Rockford anymore, like if Nick Lardis is on a 71 goal pace with the Ice Hawks, which we all expect,
Sure.
then you're gonna have to find spots for these guys. And I think it's one thing I mentioned this the other day about Davidson is he doesn't seem to be sentimental. Like when a young guy is ready to go, he will bring that young guy up and find a way to make it work. So,
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next one here, Joey. Hit the like button, by the way. We are close to 100, so let's go. Andy says, throughout the years, a certain GM liked to bring back former players. Which ones did you think worked out, and who was a bust? So I ran this yesterday, and I'm trying to see if I'm sure I missed a couple, but he brought back Andrew Ladd in 2016. He had 12 points in 19 games, so good numbers, very short-lived.
Yeah, and then they were bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
Yes. Johnny Oduya back in 2017, 2 points in 15 games. Patrick Sharp in 2017, 70 games, 21 points.
Did Sharp play 2 seasons?
I think it was just the one.
Just the one? Okay.
I think so. Marcus Kruger came back in 2018, 12 points in 74 games. I think the one that you would say worked would be Brandon Saad. 115 points in 220 games. That is a 4.428 point per game clip in his second stint as a Hawk. In his first stint, he was .563. So not quite the guy he was.
Good for Brandon Saad.
Yeah.
But you
Versteeg
traded
is
him.
who I forgot.
And Versteeg. You traded him for Artemi Panarin.
Right.
He also
but he
brought back.
personally was okay.
Sure. He in a vacuum, Brandon Saad was what you would expect to get out of Brandon Saad. Andrew Shaw was brought back too.
Yeah.
And he was actually like Andrew Shaw when he came back his second stint was like, oh, this is a like fun, good version of Andrew Shaw. What he was doing in Montreal kind of carried over, and then concussions ended it early.
Yes. Chuck is taking issue that I said Saad worked. Saad came in. Yeah, we know that he was. See, Chuck is missing the point. Yes, he was traded for Panarin. It was a horrible trade.
Yeah.
But Brandon Saad
Chuck is saying what I just said.
came to Chicago and was Brandon Saad
Right.
for the most part. Maybe a little dialed back version of what he was before. It was a ass trade, one of the worst in the history of the game. But Brandon Saad came to Chicago and was Brandon Saad. Chris Versteeg in his second stint, 124 games with the Hawks, he had 63 points.
Yeah, he wasn't the Chris Versteeg that was on the 2010 team, but he played a role and did it well.
Yeah.
For that 2015 run, for sure.
Yep. All
Any
right.
others?
I'm trying to.
He brought back
Hanzus
he
came
brought back
back.
Hanzus, but it was before Bowman took over. When Hanzus' first stint with the Hawks happened. Bowman took over summer of 09. And Hanzus was what, 07?
06,
Or
07.
06, 07? Yeah.
That was 8 games. Point per game player, by the way.
He was.
And then came back in 2012.
His hair was longer back then.
6 points in 11 games, and then 16 points in 59 games the next year. But the playoffs are what really matter for Hanzus.
He was
had
pretty steady.
in 2013, 11 points in 23 playoff games, and then 3 points in 19 in 2013-14.
Was there anybody else that was? I'm trying to think. Was there anybody else that was like brought back besides those guys? Can't really.
I don't know. I was going through the. I think it's committedindians.com has every move Stan Bowman ever made.
Oh.
And I was going through there trying to find it, but
Yeah.
it was a lot. Like it's.
Oh yeah.
You know, drafted this guy in the 6th round. Like, holy cow! It was a
Every
lot.
transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there weren't many that were like great, but some of them worked for the guy that you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Which one are we doing here, Joey? Windy City Hockey, our buddy, here every show. With Florida and cap hell and the Blackhawks having the second most cap space in the league, do you think the Hawks and Panthers can work on a deal where Evan Rodriguez, who is 32 at $3 million, and Mackie Samoskevich, who is 22 at $775K, both those players would get them under the cap? What would the Blackhawks have to give up for them, since it will be a cap relief for the Panthers? So don't forget, Greg mentioned this yesterday, Matthew Tkachuk is probably out until Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to go on LTIR for a while. They have time to figure things out. I don't think they're in any hurry to move on from Mackie Samoskevich because the Panthers do have to somewhat have an eye to the future.
They also just re-signed him.
Yes.
They could have just not re-signed him.
Right. So I think that he's staying. And in my mind, adding a guy like Evan Rodriguez does not make this team significantly better. I think marginally at best. At this point, I'm not blocking a young player from playing.
He's
for Evan
another.
Rodriguez.
He's another like middle six guy,
Yeah.
and I think fully clear direction of this season laid out by Kyle Davidson is that they don't need those guys. They brought in Burakovsky, and he's another one of those like probably middle six just guys.
Yeah.
And so is Tavo, so is Bertuzzi, so is Dickinson, so is Mikheyev, so is Donato.
Yeah.
They have enough of them. So you want your young guys to go and start taking over the team. Don't bring in just more middle of the road guys.
Yeah, it's kind of filler.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about, as free agency approached before we knew that Marner was going to get traded to Vegas and Brock Besser was staying in Vancouver, and really Nikolai Ehlers was the only real free agent available. After those three names, we were kind of saying, if not one of those three, then forget it. Unless you're going to trade for somebody, of course. But
Right.
but
even then, that's just not the way that they went.
I don't think 32-year-old Evan Rodriguez on this team moves the needle at all.
No.
It just prevents a young player from being able to step into the lineup.
Yeah, it's just another guy that you're getting into the conversation of, hey, if prospect XYZ starts playing really good, are we going to be scratching Evan Rodriguez?
Right. And he's a guy last year had 41. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the playoff numbers. He had 32 points in 82 games. Can Colton Dock or Lucas Reichel or Oliver Moore or one of those guys have 32 points next year?
Probably.
So I'd rather give Colton Dock one last look, Lucas Reichel one last look to see if they're NHL players instead of just plugging in a guy that might make you a win better.
Right.
I don't think it accomplishes too much.
Yeah.
All right.
Agreed.
Keep it going.
Next.
Charlie the Bacon Guy, who wins a best of 7 series, the 2013 Blackhawks or the 2025 Panthers?
That's a good series. I hope it goes 7.
The Hawks win because they have hosts on my friend.
That's a big part of it. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say the Hawks because that's my heart. But man, I mean, you look up and down at that Panthers lineup, and the guys that they had, the roles that they played, and we've talked about it, going into this season, what the offseason has presented. It's just like, I don't know who's beating the Panthers. And the Hawks of that time had that air around them of like, I don't know who's beating this team in seven games. Both those teams can play either style you want. You want to try and go and outscore your opponent, they can do it. You want to go and wear them down, they can do it too. So I'm going to say the Blackhawks. I'm contractually obligated to say the Blackhawks. But I mean this Panthers squad, the one that went last year all the way again, and then the one that is going to be tough again this year. They're built through and through.
To me, the difference maker is Duncan Keith. Mm-hmm. The Panthers do not have a Duncan Keith. And you can go through the forwards. You can go through... they got Kachuk. Well, the Hawks have Taves. Well, they've got Barkov. Well, the Hawks have Hossa. Well, they've got,
Bennett.
Bennett. Well, the Hawks have Kane. So you can kind of go player for player and do that, but they don't have Duncan Keith. They don't have that dude. Look, they've got a lot of nice players.
Keith Seabrook, Hjalmarsson Oduya versus
Ekblad,
Jones, Forsling, and who was their fourth? Who's like their fourth? Am I forgetting? What am I forgetting?
I'm looking.
Ekblad, Jones, Forsling.
It's like Mikkola.
Mikkola.
It's the Hawks have the advantage on D.
Yeah, I say defensive depth. You're deeper.
I would give Bobrovsky a nod over Crawford.
This version of Bobrovsky over that version of Crawford. Yes.
Yeah, I would give him a goaltending edge, but yeah. I think that the big difference is Duncan Keith.
Yeah, the defense is deeper, I think, and that can probably carry you.
I mean, you could probably make the argument that the Panthers don't even have a Brent Seabrook. Is Brent Seabrook the best defenseman of Seth Jones, Aaron Ekblad, Gustav Forsling, Nico Mikkola? I would say so.
Yeah,
I'd take Seabrook over all those guys.
They're all in that conversation because their top defensemen are all really solid, but they're not like in the elite of the current day. Yeah. Like Forsling's really good, Ekblad's really good, Seth Jones is really good. They're all like top of that like second tier,
right?
But they're not in that first tier. And Seabrook was one of those guys, especially at that time, was that one, that A-B tier. He was there for sure.
Ben, $5 super chat says they also don't have a big buff.
Well, neither did the 2013.
Yeah, the 2013 Hawks did not have big buff. Want to acknowledge the super chat, but yeah.
Yes.
2010 is a different conversation because you've got a younger and more green defensive core and maybe not as fully developed as they were in 13. So I think 13 to me was the best Hawks Cup team.
I would say so. I think the most complete.
Yeah, I would say so.
Team for sure.
But I'm taking the Hawks in 6 in that one.
I'll go 7 because I like drama.
All right,
but still the Hawks.
Fair enough. I think we got time for 2 or 3 more, Joey, if we rifle through them.
Yeah, we did this one yesterday, but I want Mario to weigh in.
Yeah, let's get Mario's in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Warren Bedard says, watching the movie Nona's on Netflix inspired the question, if you were to open a restaurant with your grandmother's cooking, what kind of food would it serve and what would be the house specialty?
So it would be Italian.
What?
No.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Of the century, I know. Yeah, so I would say, so my grandma on my mom's side was the chef and had like limitless potential with Italian dishes. So her thing was like the homemade sauce that she would make on anything just took it to another level. So I would say
what would you call it too? What do we call in the restaurant? What's the name
what
of
are you calling it?
Yeah, is it like Bossy's?
Mine would be Alice's Restaurant. I get sued by Arlo Guthrie. The old people will understand that reference.
Yeah. Probably just like because her name was, so I would say Lou's, just L-U apostrophe S, but if you're really going the Italian hook, it's Luigina's.
Oh,
Which, I mean, yeah. I think
I got reservations at Luigina's this Saturday, honey. That's a good one.
So I think that would be, it's simple, red and white checkered tablecloths and all that. Probably lasagna would be the big one. If I'm trying to remember correctly, I have to double check with my mom on that one, but I think lasagna would be the signature dish. But again, like it was like her homemade sauce was just like,
yeah, that's what makes a difference.
I would just take like, shout out Piali's Bakery in Kenosha. I was just there this weekend. I would take their bread and just like dip it in the sauce.
Oh, yeah.
And that would just like be like a nice little appetizer. It was so good. Back when I could have gluten.
Well, and I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Terrific. All right, let's do 2 more before we wrap things up here. Rick says, I know it's impossible to predict free agent signings, but one name I think would be perfect is Adrian Kempe. He's 6'2", 201, can play either side. He's a UFA after this year. Would you do 7 years, $11 million? No, not for Adrian Kempe. $11 million?
Well, think about we're gonna definitely have to reframe how we think about dollars in the NHL, and if you already haven't, you should, because a lot of this whole no one's won a cup with someone making 10 per year.
That's over.
It's done. It's over. 10 million per year is no longer the benchmark it was even 2 years ago. So, yeah, Adrian Kempe for $11 million, like, sure, that probably makes sense. I would think off the top of my head. I just don't know if that does it. At that money at that term for this team, the direction it's going, it just doesn't seem like it's the way to go.
Nothing against him, but he's 28.
He's a fine player.
Career high 75 points. He's a good player, a really good second or third forward on a great team.
And those guys are going to start costing $11 million.
But I'd rather find an A-tier free agent, pay him $2 or $3 million more, maybe even $4 million more, and have that A1 top line center wing that you can count on for a point per game plus.
Yeah.
I like Adrian Kempe. I think $11 million is a little too rich for me. But again, you're right. The cap's going up, and it's kind of hard to determine how the salaries are going to respond in that way. Obviously, they're going to go up. Mm-hmm. But $11 million in Adrian Kempe is an immediate to me, like, that's a red flag of a signing. If he was 25...
Yeah, to me, it's different.
Yeah.
Based off of age. But I just don't think that...
He's a real solid player, but...
Yeah, I just don't think that's the guy that's putting you over the hump.
Yeah. All right, let's do... we probably got time for a couple more.
Yeah, we got one more here if you want to do that.
All right, this one is from Edward. It says, with last week's verdict, the Hockey Canada 5 have been absolved of criminal charges. I know the NHL would need to approve their return to play, but in the case of Carter Hart in particular, with an apparent hole in the Edmonton depth chart and goal, can you envision Hart taking a 1-year prove-it deal near league minimum as a springboard to reestablishing his NHL career?
I don't care.
I don't know if they'll do it this soon. Just like they had to kind of wait to bring Joel Quenneville back, wait to bring Sam Bowman back after the Brad Aldrich scandal. I'll just say this. I don't think there's any doubt that Carter Hart will be back in the NHL at some point.
Someone's going to give him a contract, and if you want to give him a contract, that's your choice.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
You will get a reaction. And that will be something that the teams will factor in signing any of those players. But if I'm a betting man, is Carter Hart back in the NHL at some point? I'm betting yes.
Yep.
Oh, you got some Lala recommendations? We did this one yesterday too.
Hydrate.
You don't have any bands?
Comfy shoes.
Did the list
I love that
come
band.
out?
The list. It's this weekend. I hope the list is out.
I don't know who's playing. Lollapalooza is no longer for me.
It's Weezer.
Oh, that's cool.
Pearl Jam.
Oh,
Soundgarden.
Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Motley Crue.
Yeah,
I'm building my own festival here.
I was gonna say, go see all of them.
David Lee Roth, Van Halen,
Foreigner.
All right, Tyler the Creator and Luke Combs won't see me there. Olivia Rodrigo and Korn. That's a very Barbenheimer type of concert, but that would be fun. Rufus Du Sol and Twice. Have fun. Sabrina Carpenter and A$AP Rocky. Sure. Why not? I'd see Cage the Elephant. I'd go see T-Pain. Hell yeah.
That's what Greg said.
I would go see T-Pain
because he wants to hear the War Pigs cover.
Absolutely. that would be. Yep, that's where you would see me.
All right, I dropped the ball yesterday, by the way. I don't think I mentioned Remy Wolf. Remy Wolf is cool. Go see Remy Wolf.
Sounds good.
All right, if you're going to Lala, drink lots of water, have fun.
Yeah.
But we'll be back here tomorrow at 2 with more hockey wonderfulness. Make sure you join us. Take advantage of that Die Hard sale we've got going on right now at allchgo.com. Get yourself some Hogue and John's merch, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at 2 right here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.